So, do a lot of us face this, uh, you know, question as to why we are not married and how there is this conversation that a lot of us are not married because we've chosen careers or we've chosen to be, um, he's like very ambitious women. But I have a different take on it. And I'm going to share my journey of my attempts to meet and find a partner and the experience that I had actually all through. So the very first thing was that we come from a very conservative family. And when I say conservative, I think we were not even allowed to, the idea of having a boyfriend or the idea of having like any interest in a guy is considered to be like an absolute taboo. Now, my parents are educated. My father is a lawyer. My mother is a teacher. My mom's from South Bombay. My dad is very highly educated. Um, and yet there was like this very understood thing that um, anyone who even talks to boys was characterless or was this very big flirt. And I remember in the building, it was just me and another friend of mine who used to not talk to guys, and everyone else uh, not just about having boyfriends, but I don't even remember having guy friends. Like I remember it being so bizarre that uh, we didn't have any sort of um it was almost like we were under some sort of a rule which was like you had to not even look at guys. And uh, I think the first time that I actually spoke to a guy was when I turned um 26. That was my boss. I mean, I did grow up speaking to people who are like auto people or like uncles and all, but I was so shy. And my cousin was quite bindas in that sense. At least she felt bindas to me because she would speak to people. She wasn't someone who will over sexualize the conversations that she's having with just like random men. But um, I just remember it being so difficult to hold conversation or hold eye contact. So imagine the first time you're talking to someone is when you're 26 or 27. And I think a lot of people in India especially have this problem where they're not allowed to talk to guys, and you're only supposed to have like your partner is supposed to be the one you marry, so you can't have like a boyfriend. Um, so my journey of actually trying to find a partner began in 2021, and this was someone that I had just met once when I was working, and he asked me to meet him, and we met and we clicked, and that's where the night started. Because within, I think we met on a Saturday, and on Monday I was in his family's WhatsApp group. And I remember he was hell bent on getting married. He would keep insisting that I profess my love to him, which was so strange because We would never have any meaningful conversations. I remember he every day would want to go to a restaurant or go out. Um, if you told him, okay, let's finally just sit and let's just talk or let's just hang out. It was a big no. And I think in retrospect, I feel like a lot of times, you end up not understanding that you are someone's diva because uh, when we did break up, it was in 2 weeks. That's it, in 2 weeks. I remember, I think it was a year later, or 6 months down the line, that she got married. And I remember seeing a picture of it. And the girl looked exactly like me. And that worried me because he was absolutely in love with this other girl who he had been in a relationship for 10 years. And he then had dated someone else and he dated someone else. And by the time he had met me, I think he had dated four or five people. Uh, and I realized we all looked the same. So all of us were just replacing her. And the woman we married also looked like her. Like we all looked like the first girl who he was absolutely in love with and he couldn't marry. And it was one of the most traumatizing relationships because he would have emotional outbursts all the time. Like I remember the first time that I met him, within 2 days he was already crying. And then 2 days later he would have an emotional outburst and cry. I remember on the same weekend, I remember going to meet someone from work and I was spending the day at her house. So every time I would post something, he would get angry. He would feel like, why aren't you spending this time with me? And we were supposed to meet in the evening at around 5. And I remember asking him if he wanted to come to her place and hang out, or if he wanted to um, just be there. And he was just absolutely, um, he would keep giving me taunts like, you should rather spend the day with me than with her. Which I remember asking him if he wanted to spend the day, and he said, no, I'm going to be doing something. And uh, I think that relationship was so taxing because every single day there was something which was so draining. He did not want to speak, and my experience over there is just one of the most bizarre moments of my life because I I don't think us women are ever told that you have to take care, like I at least I do not know how to take care of a crying man, and especially a man who has these kind of emotional outbursts like every day, like he cries every day. I don't know. And the sobbing, the calls in the night was too much for me. And I don't even know what it was about. I I remember realizing that he probably was still in love with his ex, and I was supposed to compensate for whatever didn't happen there because he made absolutely no attempts to meet me or understand me. But he would keep talking about marriage. He would just keep talking about marriage. And that got me really worried because how can you talk about marriage when you're not willing to get to know? And another thing that was very strange was he was one of those people who used to like gifting things. And I remember having a problem with that because um, I think there are certain things that you gift which are sweet, so flowers and chocolates and all these, they'd be welcome. But he was so used to the women in his life exploiting him that I think they would make him buy things and he would buy that so that they would stay by him. I don't know what that thing was. I don't know. I never understood that. So I remember it was very because he was not of the same caste as mine. He was a Parsi. I remember he said, um, do you want to buy why don't you go on Nika and buy 4 outfits for Holi? And I said, why would you want me to buy clothes for Holi? Holi is the one festival where you don't buy anything new. And his face just changed because he was so used to women just taking him for a ride and making him buy things that he, poor thing, was like, okay, then what should we do? And I remember telling him, why don't you come down and we'll spend Holi together. Now, I don't play Holi either because I have fear of colors going into my eyes. I said, why don't we just spend that time together? For which I got a flat no. So it's quite weird, the relationship. Um, the I was replacing whatever he had in his head, and I think what I learned from it was it's no one else's job to heal you. It's your own job to heal. So I had such a difficult time with this particular gentleman. Like, uh, he was someone who I thought was great because I think you, as a woman, always looking to be with someone who is you're attracted to, who is who has a lot of um, loyalty in their heart, and he was also someone who I think I liked because I liked his mom, and she was very sweet. I remember talking a lot to her, with her, but he just, he's just in love with her. I remember, and it was so traumatizing. Uh, that was my first true equation of being in a relationship. And I think what started post that was just this journey of bizarre attempts at finding some sort of a partnership. And I think the next thing was me going on to um, dating apps and matrimonial sites. And for anyone who hasn't been on these, I'm just trying to go through my uh, nail polishes. Just try it out. Yeah. But yeah, I remember going on a couple of dates. The very first one that I went on was I think it was through Bumble, and the guy that I met, I thought I picked a very nice guy because he was very like I think you always go for a person who you feel uh, you would connect with because you have a lot of things in common. Like I remember he's into fashion, he was into merchandising, he was into he looked very grounded, and I remember speaking. So I did not know that we were supposed to screen people before we went to meet them. So my first date with this person was dramatic. I remember meeting him and uh, The first time that we went to this particular place, um, I think we had an idea of how Mumbai women are. So there was absolutely no room of getting to know each other. And he said the strangest thing, which was, I'm not from Mumbai, I'm just here for work. I'm going to live here for a couple of years, and I'm going to go home and I'm going to marry someone who is going to be my wife. I could never marry someone from Bombay, like to my face. And I remember he went on to order drinks. Now, I do have a problem with people ordering drinks because I just, that's just, I have a problem with people smoking and drinking. It's, yeah. Um, Now, he sits and he is not able to have a conversation about the relationship. Instead, he starts saying, why don't we go clubbing? It would be so much fun to see you dancing on top of the table. Now, my energy was that we both were at that age where we were, at least I assume, we were looking for a life partner. Um, Expecting certain things out of people, which are so bizarre, because you have a mindset that if you've lived in a town or if you've lived in a village, and Bombay girls are a certain way, that is the strangest thing to me. And I remember all things that I had thought we would talk about because I somewhere in my head thought we would speak about clothing because we had so much of experience in that. Uh, he instead was, I mean, I could have picked up someone from the Rasta. He was that faltu, is how I put it across. So, you know, all that you're told that education is important and uh, is rubbish. That's the first thing that I realized that having things in common is important, education is important. It's absolutely not. Your character is has nothing to do with these things. And I remember he asked me to split the bill, which I did have a problem with because he chomped on food, didn't hold a conversation about a relationship, and was just there to have a good time. He was just chomping away on the food. And I remember getting so anxious because I had never been on a date. And I obviously thought I'm kind of, I mean, considering my energy, I thought I would only find people who were looking for a relationship because I do come across very serious and do come across as being very, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't even have chai or coffee. So I'm like not your fun girl to go out and club with. And yet this person had decided to waste my time and energy and was ordering everything, was just out to have a good time. Um, then decides, oh, I'm gonna walk you home. And I remember thinking, so we're both 30 plus, I can go home by myself. And the thing with men is we're so scared to tell them a no. Um, because you don't know how they'll take it. I remember telling him, you can just walk me to the rickshaw and I'm quite okay with that. And he did not let me get into a rickshaw. He made me walk right from my place all the way, and it was one of the most annoying moments I remember. And I think he was hoping to get lucky as we were walking, and he got so miffed the minute I said, okay, bye, I'm gonna go home. But yeah, those were my first two experiences in dating world. And I'm going to tell you all a lot more uh, in the next video.